And then we can open Fusion. I've got a new file selected here in my Halloween folder. I want to look at the top, make sure the orientation is the right way. We want to insert an SVG. Let's select our SVG file, which is I4. And we want it on that plane right there. You see they come in, they're a little bit small. So we are going to increase the size about 5 times. And on this one we can actually do more than 5 times, it looks like. I'll remove that sketch palette so I can see. So we're about 200 millimeters across. Whoa, not that big. Let's see how big that makes it. We've only got a 300 by 300 build volume, so that's actually too big. So we're going to take this down to about 0.9. Now that's going to be about the full build volume, and we don't want that. Take this to 0.9 again. We're trying to get it about total width of 250 across to make some big old spooky eyes. And you can make them different sizes. The reason why I'm making mine this size is the LEDs I'm using are from Radio Shack, so they need to be about 100 millimeters in here to make them fit okay. So let's do this again. 0.9, drop it down a little bit. And do 1.1. Just trying to get a decent size in there. Alright, so there's that. Now we've got that imported. We don't want to do any extrudes or anything yet because we're going to have to add some areas for wires to go through and a connection between them. So now that we've got it imported into Fusion, we want to start creating some other stuff. Sometimes I do circles, sometimes I do rectangles. It just depends on what you're doing. The problem with circles is if you're trying to do other stuff on the side face of the circle, Fusion doesn't really like to do that real well, or maybe I just don't know how. So we're going to do a center diameter rectangle. And we're going to kind of put it right about there. That gives us a solid portion in the middle. So now we want to start doing some extrusions. So we can stop the sketch. We want to select this one and this one. We want to make sure there's nothing, no blank spots in the outside of the spooky eyes. And I'll show you what I mean here. So let's look at the top again. I'm talking about okay, so it caught it. That's okay. We're going to extrude all 3 of these to 50 millimeters. And I want to keep an eye on that sketch. So this one here, and this one here, and this one here, and that one there. We want to go ahead and extrude those about 5 millimeters. Okay. Now, and actually we're going to, for the time being, we're going to view that sketch again. We're going to undo that. We're going to go ahead and extrude this one 50, which we'll get rid of in a minute. And we're going to extrude this one 50, which we'll get rid of again in a minute. Now we're going to come over here. Wow, that is not what I wanted. We're going to come over on this side. We're going to click this surface right here, and we are going to make a hole. We want it to go all the way through there. Obviously 5,000 millimeters is way too far, 50 is too short. Let's do 100. We want to make sure it comes all the way through without touching the other eye. Let's back that down just a little bit. We want a flat hole. And this is basically just to run wires through. A 20mm hole should be fine, so that'll come in right there. So we say OK. Now, let's see where to place that hole. Ah! I don't like that. That's too high. So we're going to edit this feature. And we're going to bring it over and down a little bit. And say OK. Now, this extrusion right here, should be that extrusion there. We're going to go ahead and delete that extrusion. And delete that extrusion. Delete anyway. It leaves our hole in there, so we've still got it, and it's going to give you a warning, which, to be honest with you, I don't know how to fix that. And if somebody knows, feel free to tell me. Alright, so we've got that part. Now we're going to go back and look at the top. We're still looking at our sketch, so we want to view this one, this one, this one, and this one. We're going to extrude those 5mm. And there's our basic design for our eyeballs. Now, we want to go look at this. We're going to turn off this sketch because we really don't need to see it right now. So we are going to create another center. Let's rotate that around. So we're looking at it right side up. And actually I want to look at this side. We need to create something to hang from. Just kidding, that's not what we want to do. We want it on a different plane completely. Come on, mouse. Alright, so we're looking at the right side. I'm going to put in a circle. We want it on that plane right there. We're going to kind of move over here and try and find the center point. Let's just say right there. Want a 30mm circle. And then we want another let's say 10mm circle, and 20. Now, we take this, make sure that's the way I want that thing. And go ahead and extrude that. Both sides, actually symmetric, and let's say 8mm. And we want that to be a join. So now if we look at that, now we got a little loop to hang stuff from, to hang the eyeballs from. We'll go around and we'll put some bevels on these edges here in a little bit. So now we've got our holes. We're going to save that, I4. We've got our hole running through the center to run wires. We've got our hangy doodad. Now we need to start thinking about bolt hole locations. Let's see. A good one is always up here in the center somewhere, but at the same time we need to make sure our hole, if I can see it, we don't want it near the hole. That would just not be good. So basically from here down, we could actually put one down here. We could put one up here. We just got to find the best location for the hole. The design of this one, it would almost be better to have a bolt hole up here in this corner, and then one right here, one right here, and one in this corner. So that's 4 bolts total on this one. Wouldn't hurt to have one on this side, but we're not going to do that. So we need to create... Can I miss that hole? We're going to change our opacity on this body. Why is it not letting me do it? Oh, that's why. Turn that sketch off. Now we just want this body. And change our opacity to about, I don't know, 80%. Now I can kind of see everything. Come on. Kind of see where the hole is now. Come on. Oh yeah, we got it. So before we start getting to where we make the holes, besides on this side here, we need to turn back on this sketch. We're going to go ahead and hide our body. And we're going to create, let's do a circle on that plane. I don't like the circle. Now we need to measure, because I don't know if I made that the right size. Our bolts are 1024 bolts. So we need to make sure we have enough room to run our bolt. It says that's 14.577 distance in there. The bolt's 10 millimeters wide, not including the points. So we need to move that down. Let's do a 2-point rectangle. Let's start from here. like a 15 by 15 square. Hopefully that gives us enough room to put in our bolt hole. And then we'll do the other same thing over here. There's 15 by 50. Nope. Hit the wrong button. Now we're going to turn back on our body. We're going to extrude this from an offset plane. Let's do 30 millimeters. And we're going to extrude that 20 millimeters. And we do want to join, but we do want a taper angle here of 45. Whoa. That's not what we're wanting. We'll fix that in a minute. So we can say OK on that one. And we'll go look at this side. Hey, where'd our other rectangle go? There it is. We're going to take this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to repeat that same extrude. Offset plane of 30. And we want 20. We want it to be a join. We say OK. So there's our places for our bolt holes. Okay, so now that we got our place for our bolt holes, for our bolts, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the top. So we're going to turn off this body. We are going to extrude all of this, that section, that section, that section, that section, and that section. Once again, oops. Flip it over. I'm going to move this out of the way because it bothers me. Okay, so we're going to extrude this again. We're going to extrude from an offset plane. We want it 50 millimeters. We're going to extrude it 2 millimeters. And we do want it to be a new body completely. So we say OK. There's our top. Oop. Go back, go back, go back. So we want to see this sketch too. So we're going to select all of these again. We're going to extrude, offset plane, 50 millimeters. And we want it 2 millimeters tall. So there we go. There's our little bolt hole locations. We do want it to be a new body. We say OK. Alright, good deal. So that's kind of bland. So we're going to select these again. These ones here. And we're going to extrude those again. Again from an offset plane. 52 millimeters. and we're going to extrude those another 2 millimeters. So then you can kind of see our eyeballs there. Now, we've got that part done. We want to change the physical material here. I'm going to go down to plastic, and we're just going to select pet plastic just because I like the way it looks. Drop it right there. Say close. Now we can turn on our other body. Let's adjust our opacity again so you can kind of see what's going on here. And then you can kind of see, you can see through this, but not through the rest of it. The idea here is to be able to do a layer change and make these black. So now we need to start doing some holes. But first, we're going to turn off body 2. We're going to turn off those sketches. We're going to select that right there. We're going to create a polygon, circumscribed polygon. We want that somewhere. Come on, go down one click. There we go. We want that 10. Ooh, you gotta type 5. It's half. I always forget. I accidentally clicked. We gotta make sure the points are facing the right way. Start doing this. 5.0. And say OK. Now the points are not currently the right way, but we're going to open up our sketch palette and we're going to tell come on. We want to select the parallel feature. Yeah, my computer's using too much RAM. I'm losing my mouse. This one and this one we want parallel. So that's good. Now we want to go ahead and hit the select. I want to move that a little further to the right. That's pretty good. So there's that sketch there. We're going to continue and put another polygon. And let's get it right about that's too close. There. Turn that as best we can. It's okay if it comes over in this line a little bit. We're going to hit our parallel button again. That one and that one should be parallel. Now we can stop the sketch. We can come over here, select this one. And come on, highlight. There we go, this one. Oops, got to hold shift. Now we want to extrude that. And we want to do from an offset plane. We're going to drop that down 5 millimeters. And the distance needs to be 5 millimeters. So if we come to the side and look at it, it should be kind of in the middle of that. Let's go to the right side. So that's not too bad. We can leave that one there. The other one should be the same way. Yep. So about 5 millimeters down, that's good. And that puts us another there. But you ask, how do you get to the nut? Well, I used to try and do inclusion. So during the 3D print, I would run in and I would put a nut in there, but it never works quite right. So once again, we're going to go to our opacity control. We're going to knock that down just a hair. We're going to look at this side. We want to see, sometimes if you click on this it works a little bit better. You can see where that one is. So we want to create a rectangle on this plane here and to that point right there. You can say stop sketch, extrude. Let's go back, look at the top. This is going to be a negative number. It can be at least 5. We know that because it's 10. And it looks like, if you look at this, we're a little bit off on our rectangle. So we can hit cancel here. We go back and look at our sketch. I think we can hit undo, undo, and undo again. Alright, so again, let's do our this here. We're going to go from that point to that point. Let's see if that's right. Stop sketch, extrude, -5. Go back and look at the top again. There we go. So now we've got a clear spot where we can come in there. Say OK. Zoom out. Drag. Let's go. Look at this side. And we kind of need to look. So from that corner to that corner. A little hard to see sometimes. I'm betting it's from that corner right there. So we're going to select this one. We're going to create another sketch. Stop sketch. Select sketch. Extrude. -5. Go back and look at the top. Perfect. Say OK. So now if we go back here and we change our opacity again, let's make it solid looking. And we go look at the side. You see we got a slot to put the nut in, which it'll be held on 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So that's good. So now we're going to change our opacity control again. Knock it down to about 70%. And we want to bolt right in here, and we want to bolt right in here. So we're going to create a new sketch with a circumscribed polygon. We want it on this surface right here. That's probably as good a place as any. Don't matter how this one lines up, but I like stuff to line up straight. There we go. And we can create another one. Right in, oh, about there. Come on. We're going to do the same thing. Make this line parallel from here to here. Now we can grab that right there. Oh, come on. And I want it right on that line. That's pretty good right there. I didn't mean to say okay. And we want to move it up -2. Get it a little bit away from the edge there. That's pretty good. Come on, mouse. Alright, so we're going to take this one here and this one here. We're going to extrude again from an offset plane. We're going to subtract 10 millimeters, and then we're going to go down -40. If we go look at the front, you'll see it's 10 millimeters down, and we go in all the way down through the bottom. So that's good. There's those. Alright, so now you can see we got our hexes there, we got hexes there. Only one thing we're missing, which we need to turn back on this body for. And on this surface here, we are going to create a circle, but we want to see that center of that hex, which usually it shows me. Which sketch was that? Nope, not that one. There it is. Alright, so now I want that body there. I hate it when it does that. We want to make sure we're grabbing the center point. We need to make my circle 5.2. Take this hole, extrude. We want that to go all the way down, what was that, 20 millimeters? But this will actually be 22 millimeters, I think. Yep, that's it. We can say OK. And come over here. We're going to create another circle on that same sketch of 5.2. And then we're going to say stop sketch. Highlight that one again. Edit this feature. Alright, so there's both of those holes. Save that. Now, we can turn off sketch 5 and sketch 9. Pretty sure that was sketch 8, I think. We just want to see it. Oh, we can turn off sketch 1. Why is sketch 1 on? I just want to be able to see those. So again, we're going to select that plane right there. We're going to create our center diameter circle of 5.2. And come down here, create another center diameter circle. Come on, mouse, where you at? And I know these sizes because I've used these bolts so many times. Alright, so this one and this one here, you need to extrude 52. That should go all the way down to the ground. There's our 10 millimeters down. And really that's just going to be a matter of dropping that bolt all the way in there unless we wanted to use really long bolts, or the nut in there. So that's going all the way through. Say OK. Now we can kind of see what it's going to look like there. The only thing I'm going to do now, we can shut off this sketch. We're going to take that hole, that hole, that hole, and that hole, and we're going to bevel it. Chamfer 1.5. So all those are chamfered, so the screws should kind of set down in there. And actually 1.5 is a little much since they're only, let's edit that, let's just change that to 1. There we go. We can save that. Now again, because I don't particularly care for the hard edges of this body down here, mainly on this piece right. Come on, mouse. There and right. Come on, where are you? There. It won't let me grab that. There it is. There. And then right there. There. We're going to create a fillet. It just makes it look nice to me. So that's it. Basically our creepy eyes are done. Got all of our nut holes. We got our hangy doohickey. I know one thing I didn't do. So we're going to turn off body 2 for a minute. And go back to this one. We're going to change our opacity back to 100%. I remember what I didn't do. Alright. So again, we want to chamfer this. It ain't gonna let me go that far. Basically, we want to try and get this to where it doesn't need. Ooh, that ain't good. Cancel. So that isn't long enough. What we want to do is we want to get this to bring an angle down here about 45-50 degrees. so we don't have to have supports underneath this when we print it. We'll do that here in just a few minutes. Okay, so I went ahead and fixed these. Now we're going to try and fix the chamfer. And we're going to select that one right there. We're going to chamfer that. And let's kind of look at it from the side. Let's do 15. Nope. What happened here? It's not going to let me do 15. $13 it lets me do. 13, 13, 13. 14. 14 it lets me do. Let's take a look at that. Zoom in and see how much of a ledge that creates. I said I'm not the best person in the world of Fusion. Oops. Makes it pretty good there. It's just this corner that's kind of out there, I think. Yeah, see, we got a little bit right there. What if I do 14.5? I can't do 16 or 15. We want to get that as close as we possibly can. 14.9. So that's good. Let's go over to the other side. Move this over here. And this one's going to be different. We'll try it at 14.9. I'll be dipped in shit. Oops, excuse me. Oh, come on. Let me see what's going on here. That's pretty good. The idea is to keep you from having to have supports there. So we say OK. We save it. We click our little home button. And that's kind of what she looks like. We could actually change the material on this one. Let's see. Let's see if we can find another. Let's go up here, ABS plastic. Change that to number 2. And then we're going to go in here. We're going to do advanced, appearance, translucence. Let's see what that looks like. I really like that to be more translucent, but ooh, let's make it look like resin. Oh. Delete. Delete. That's funny. Opaque plastic white. Let's try that. Not very opaque, is it? Why doesn't that? Anyway, if we were to look at the plastic transparent, what's that do? Ain't even letting me edit it. Well, anyway. Where'd that pet go? There it is. And we're done. There's our spooky eyes ready to print. Now you can go in here, you can shut off one body. You can tell it to print this one. And then create your STL and all that good stuff in your G-code, and then you can do the same thing. You can just print this one. Import it into whatever your slicer you're using. I use Kira, and print from there. And we're done.